Put that on in case I forget later.
Recording.
So who else is just so pre-ran has just turned up? Oh yeah. So GCSE Maths and Science, okay. So if anyone, so is it pre-ran? What are you looking for? We got Bosila, is that right? A-level. Is that year 12 or 13? Oh, it's for you, year 12, okay. I'm Carol. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to give a sort of like little presentation about how I teach, and then I'm going to do a little bit of teaching, and then if you like what you hear and everything, we'll talk about any next steps that you want to do. You can ask questions throughout. So we've got Victoria and Neve in here, so that they work with me, so they can help you. So if you can write anything into the chat box that you need help with. If you want to ask any questions, just ask questions, okay? So we've got some year 10, so I'm going to do some, I wasn't sure, so I've done a plan to do GCSE and A level to just give you a flavour of how I teach, and we'll go through everything. Okay, does that sound like okay with everyone? If you can give me a thumbs up, because you're all dark black. It's like I do that with the A levels. I ask them to give me thumbs up. Sorry? I can't hear you. Hold on. Turn my heater off. Sorry, could you say that again? So we've got thumbs up, okay. Well, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll start. Right, okay. So I've got, let me have a look if I can do this. Back. Right, let's skip over that one. Right, can everyone see this okay, the screen? Okay, so right, so this is ATOM, so this is the program, and it works just for, well, it's everything I've ever taught actually. But I'm specialising in A-level chemistry and GCSE sciences at the moment. So it's a science called the ATOM Science Success Programme, and so the company is also ATOMPI Academy. It came about 2016, and the logo was registered then. We're trademark registered. We're registered with the Welsh Council for Teachers, and also DBS checked as well. So I've got other helpers as well who teach other sciences as well with me, and everyone's DBS checked and everyone's qualified as well. So just to give you some background. Right, so if you stick around and you want to learn how to get absolutely great results, then it will be fantastic. So these are some of the results that we've had this year, well, over the last few years, actually. We've got lots of A stars, lots of 9s, and I'm based in Wales, so GCSE is still graded as A to G, I think it is. Tend to, it doesn't matter what grade you come in at, we always go for 100%, so that you miss, it doesn't matter. Hold on, somebody else is coming in. Just move them out of the way. So those are the kind of results that we've been getting. They've been really good this year, considering that the everyone talked grade boundaries. Oh, Jo's coming in as well, so she's helpers coming in. Maybe I shouldn't have started bang on time, but that's what I do with teaching as well. I start bang on time. Hi, Jo. So just say, sorry? Did anyone say something or not? So, hello, iPhone, I can't. So we're just going to go through sort of a little presentation of how I teach, of how I do it, and then I will actually show you.
Johnny, can you come here?
Sorry? Can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You can make comments in the chat box. They, Jo, and Vicky will be able to help you. So I'm just saying that these are some of the grades that we've got over the last few years, pre-COVID as well as post-COVID and during COVID. COVID was brilliant years. I helped everybody cheat. So I know what went on. It's not going forward. Right. So this is also what's possible. Oh, that's GCSE. So this is A level. Wait a minute, hold on, I went on. So we've got A's, B's, C's. If you work hard and also do as I ask you to do. So this C here, he was one of the first people that I ever taught. That's all he needed really to get into university. But I've mastered it a lot since then. So can't remember what that was about actually, sorry. So and free access to oh yes. That's when you come in and everything. Sorry. I think I've changed the order slightly. Anyway, by learning how to, so first of all, we learn best. So this is what we'll be doing, learning how you learn best and knowing how to solve your problems. Practice your best learning method so that you'll be able to beat everybody else, and apply how you learn best so that you can pass your exams forever. So what I teach isn't just passing your present school exams, it's also every exam that you'll ever take forever. For example, I did a law course last year and I learnt in my best learning method, and as a result I got 85%. It was meant to be an 8-week video course and I did it in a week. But I've been practicing with my best learning style and I've been making it better and better over the years. So I accidentally came across it when I was at university the first time. I've actually been to university 3 times, so I've got 3 different degrees now, each higher each time. So this is what today is about, teaching you about, showing you basically what you know, about your best method of learning, and I'll also demonstrate it. So if you have the commitment and you're willing to take action in this training, so your child can finally get the results that they require to build their futures. So like I said, I'm Carol. I grew up around universities. I've been in the system since I was 2, actually, because my dad went to university when I was 2. He was a university lecturer, so the playground was university lecturers' rooms. He did computer science, so it's also computer rooms when they were like full of computer thing gadgets and everything, when they were all big, instead of in mobile phones now. I done research into very like cancer research, leukemia, thyroid problems, probably some others, but I can't remember all of them at the moment. I ended up in Cardiff University doing a PhD, and then the bubble burst and the funding all went, and I ended up in a college and they persuaded me to do teacher training because part of the job was to do teaching, and they said I was really good at it. So I learned about, in teacher training, I learned about learning styles, which is what I actually base most of my teaching on, and so that's a bit about me. So before COVID, these are some of the workshops that we used to run for the homeschool children. I did actually one in the summer holidays. I took one of the A-level year 12s with me to go to a camp in Pembrokeshire, and we ran 120 children went through the workshops where we did lots of experiments. Some of them were A-level standard and some of them were primary school standard, because there was a range of children. We ran 3 workshops in 2 days. It was hard work, but it was great fun as well. I also did a lot of one-to-one tutoring as well, and then also online teaching Chinese children, actually. So it's quite funny because they would comment about it was sunny when I was teaching them, and I would say it's dark when I was teaching them, because they were after school, and for me it was the mornings. So we've done lots of things like this. And then during COVID, when the schools all closed, everyone I think stayed with me except for one person. And I persuaded everyone that they needed an education. The law states that as parents, it's your responsibility that your children are educated, and but it doesn't matter how they're educated. So I ended up homeschooling my youngest child, who told me yesterday that she's got her dream job, basically. So I'm really ecstatic for her. She got a zoology degree last year. So she's participated in some of the homeschooling stuff as well. And then she went to university a few years ago and then got her degree last year. I lose track of time a bit in the years, basically. So a lot of parents were contacting me because they'd lost their tutors for various reasons. So I ended up working almost full time, which caused problems when they all went back to school, which meant that they all got put into groups as a result of that. And then I also noticed that the agencies that I worked with had no students. So I hired a coach, actually, to help me do this type things. And now I've got a team as well. So these are the team members. There's actually 8 of us at the moment. Vicky, Joe, and they are on the call with me. Then we got Macadam, who does actually physics up to A level. And we got Balji, which is Kipo, who does it up to GCSE. So she took over from me last year. I was struggling a bit with the biology. I'd forgotten some of it. So I found her, and the same with the physics. He's been working with me a year now, and Balji, I think 6 months or so. And we got Camille up here. She says she works behind the scenes. So all the lovely pictures that you see in my Facebook, etc., it's Camille and Vicky that do those. Jenny, this is my daughter, actually, the one who's just got that brilliant job, that she does all my proofreading for me to make sure that I've got everything right. So they're a fantastic team I've got with me. And then, of course, that's me there. That's Carol, who does all the chemistry teaching. So everyone has the potential to get results. The team also know how they learn as well, because I tested them. Some of them said that they wish they knew about it before they went to university. But if they do higher degrees now, they'll know about how to do it.
So the last chemistry test I got tested on, I got 60, something like 60%, which is something like a C grade. And this time I got an A star, which was 86%. And I'm like so happy.
So that was Mary a few years ago. So yeah, you can see that she was really, really happy. So she came in with a C and went out with an A. And these are actually students last year that they were telling me. Ashwin came in, he was getting 6s, and he told me recently got a 9. And then Jason, he came in with an E and didn't really understand anything. He was A level, Ashwin was GCSE. So and Jason went and got a B. So I looked at the national averages actually the other day, and I was quite shocked actually how low they were. I know their numbers are bigger than mine and everything, but I was still quite shocked, and because all the schools around us say that they can get 100%. So basically I had 100% of people passing, but in the top grades you can see that for A level I got 77%, and for GCSE it was 86%. This is a note from one of the parents. 2020. There's the date on it. Actually, I was trying to think which one when it was. I got an A-star in chemistry. So that's A level. And as you can see, there's lots of people who are really, really pleased and everything. So this is last year. This child that we had come in, they were like, he had a liver disease, so he didn't really attend very much school. And what the request was that he could go in and understand the exams. And so actually Muckadum actually was the one who taught him. He came with me for a bit and then I passed him over to Muckadum, and he actually did all three sciences, I think, with him. He certainly did chemistry. I think he did all three. I can't remember now. I know it's not that long ago. But he suddenly became very keen to learn, and he is going to actually reset his GCSEs. But he said he didn't need our help because he learned how to study. Welcome. So if you have any comments, just make any comments in the chat, and Vicky, Joe, or Vay will answer them for you. So we're just going through. So if you're feeling like this, lost, disorientated, perplexed, confused, don't know what you're doing, don't understand the question. We had a quiz earlier, didn't we? We had a team building session quiz, and there was a quiz in it that some of us got completely wrong because we felt a bit like this. They didn't actually make the question very clear. We got things upside down, but it's quite good fun anyway. So we felt a bit like this morning, actually. So if you feel like this now, then we can help you. So do we have your commitment? If you can put a thumbs up if you're ready. If you're understanding everything. Then we'll be able to go. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, got one now. Oh, I went backwards, sorry. Right, so let's go. So if you grab a pen and paper, actually this is a chemistry A level I just did, then we can look at some of the secrets that the way that I do it. So this is a way that you will learn smarter. It's unique to you, and it also keeps you motivated. This is what some of the other students have said, that they've been nervous when they come in. I do a little sort of like a session with when you come in. First of all, I find out what you're good at, what you're not good at. It takes about 15-20 minutes or so. And this is the sort of things that people have been saying. They don't always say them in class, but this is the kind of things that they say. The biggest thing is they don't know how to study. That's the biggest thing that most people say. So if you relate to that, you can give me a thumbs down. If you relate that you don't know how to study or anything, or maybe you're all brilliant and you can already study. So the solution, or a solution, is the ATOMPI Science program. So this program helps you feel more confident. These were brother and sister down here at the bottom. Both of them. They were actually at one of the local private schools as well. So we'd expect, well, I would expect them to, I don't know why I should actually. I do think that private schools could do it, but saying that, I went to private school and struggled. So I had a tutor as well. So I know what it's like to be tutored. And I also know what it's like to be a parent who has a child who's tutored as well, because I've had that side of it as well before I became a tutor. So this takes about 12 weeks. We've had a few people do it faster. So when you're learning in your dominant learning style, you'll actually learn a new skill, a new way of learning, and you retain the information better. It goes in faster. And what we've been finding is that people's grades don't go up gradually. They tend to jump up an awful lot. So we've had people go from U's to A's, D's to 100% in tests. Quite a lot of them get 100% in tests at school now. They're already starting to go up for the ones who are in at the moment. because we started back on the 11th of September, so the grades are already starting to go. Some people are still trying to find out what the way they learn best and how to do it. So there's the training going on. We did a session on Friday for the A levels to talk about different ways of learning. We had a brilliant discussion about it, and then they had a go at doing it with me. So the first thing that I do with everybody who works with me is that everyone goes through a test, and this is the module you get access to immediately, where you discover what kind of learner you are, and then from that we teach you how to implement stuff. So there's videos in the portal that we've got that they show you they give suggestions. They are added to each year if anyone comes out with anything new, so that you can try a different way. So somebody suggested something new last year, somebody the year before. Most of the beginning I start the people off with the suggestions of what to do, but this is the feedback. Really, what people have been telling me is that they retain their information. They chucked the way that they were doing it was all wrong for them. They chucked it out the window and then did what I suggested, and then their grades just bumped up. They don't spend hours and hours revising. I used to spend hours and hours revising, and I was doing it in the wrong learning style. It never stuck either, and then one day I decided to do something different and I found it stuck, and I've been doing it ever since. Then we optimize you for the exams, so that's the environment. So we teach in groups, and the feedback we've been getting is from the groups is that, well, I didn't know that answer, but what they said was a really good idea, actually. On Friday, they were teaching each other, and then I was just filling in the mistakes or the corrections, or if they didn't know it or if they couldn't remember it. You get to practice it every day, because, when you practice things every day, you get better at it. You avoid making the silly mistakes. So at the beginning, when you start doing exam papers, there are silly mistakes all over the place. Then you iron those out, then you make some more. And eventually you stop making the silly mistakes as well. And work through exam questions together. Due to last year, we have like 6 weeks of run up to the exams 3 times a week of exam papers for the year 13s and the year 12s as well. And so you will have access to those as well. All the recordings are within the portal. We have on WhatsApp, we have a community for each of these, so A level and GCSE. We haven't split them into year groups this year, we just put them all in together. So but GCSE and A level are separated out, and you can talk to others in there if you want to, or you just talk to me. Homework is sent in there. Anything that you have struggled with, you can do that in with me as well. It prevents nervousness. They become bolder in the way that they answer the questions. What were the other? I can't remember the other things at the moment. So that's the kind of feedback. I remember one girl saying to me that she liked the way that the ideas bounced around and everything. And by being bounced around and everything, there were questions that she never thought of. There are different boards within the group, but chemistry is chemistry, as far as I'm concerned. Anything that's done different. So like AQA, they do time of flight. So I've recorded something in there for them, but they can come and ask me as well. The WJCs have the P block that nobody else does. And then I think the rest of everything else is the same. OCRB, hello. Welcome. So just running through some things, and then I'll do some teaching, okay? If you've got any questions, just put them in the chat, and Jo or Vicky will answer them for you, okay? So welcome. So I don't know, what was I saying now? I can't remember. I was talking about Marie, wasn't I? What she was saying, that's what she liked about the groups and everything. Everything is also geared towards you. and then keeping you motivated, not so that you don't peak too early, because that's dangerous when you peak too early. I've done it, and it's really hard to then carry on. So you learn different strategies and skills, and then you get to apply it. And then it's a scientific mindset, because I'm a scientist who teaches. I thought like a scientist as a kid, then I got trained as a scientist, and I think like a scientist. And so I try to impart that to the students as well, to think like scientists. The feedback I've had is that, yes, I'm trying to make somebody a scientist when they don't want to be a scientist. So I've had that feedback as well. Okay, so everyone ready for the demonstration? Okay. Right, I don't know if you've got your children with you so they can answer. What is this? I know it says at the top.
Periodic table.
Very good, it's periodic table. And what information does it give us?
The elements and their names.
Their elements and their names, very good. Anything else?
The atomic number and the atomic mass of each element, and how the electron configuration of each of them.
Okay, so how do you get the electronic configuration of each of them?
So like, for example, in the first group, elements which are in the first group, they have one electron in the outer shell, and that goes along the groups, and then down through the periods, that like represents the number of shells there are.
That's right, but how do you get that information from here?
So like at the top it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 0. So 1 is so that 1 means that there's one electron in the outer shell. 2 means that there are 2, etc.
Okay.
And then for the periods, you just count, like helium is the first period all the way down to
That's a new way, actually. Nobody's actually said it like that before. Is that how you got taught at school?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's a new way, actually. Maybe I'll bring it into my teaching. Okay. I didn't think of it like that. I thought of it very different, you say. So there's a different way, and we do that quite a lot as well. If somebody comes out with a different way of teaching, and it's then...
What's your way?
So I'll show in a minute. So then we introduce that if everyone prefers that way. So we then adapt things. Right, so I look at the atomic number. So the atomic number, it represents the number of protons, and an element has no charge on it. So that means that the number of protons equals the number of electrons. So we get this from the definition of an element as well, that is only one type, many atoms that can't be broken down chemically, and is the building block for everything. So that's the standard definition, but I add in that it can be broken down physically, which was done in the Second World War with the atomic explosion, and that's when they discovered the protons, electrons, and neutrons. So prior to that, Mendeleev didn't know about those, but he seemed to come up with this periodic table in the way that it is now. But I've got some videos on that in the portal that you can watch that the BBC produced, and I taped them from the TV, so I put them into the portal. Anyway, from the atomic number, then you work out the electronic configuration, and so it's just a different way of doing it. It also helps you to understand it when you're doing A levels as well, rather than just saying, well, the last electron on the so like number 1, like you said, was you've got 1 electron on the outer shell, so that's in group 1, and then there are so like lithium, there's 2 shells, and there's 2 numbers. So that's based on the electronic configuration as well. So it's just, so it probably might be an easier way to do it like that. I don't know if then, are you doing GCSEs or A levels?
Yes.
No, which, sorry, GCSE?
GCSE.
Anish and Shika, what are you doing?
I'm doing GCSEs right now.
GCSEs, okay. So when you come to A levels, you might have to do it slightly different.
I mean,
Okay.
I just learnt it this way, but I do use the atomic number like to figure out the neutrons, and yeah, I use it to
Correct.
help me in other things as well.
Okay, that's brilliant. That is, yeah. Anyone doing A levels here?
I am doing A levels.
All right, okay. Year 12, 13?
12.
12, okay. I'll go on to stuff with you for that as well. So what I normally do, sorry?
Carol, Pre-Ran is doing year 12. He's put in the chat, and
Okay.
Ross has his hands up.
I haven't got the chat up anymore. Oh yeah, so other people, I have to keep the chat open, won't I? So I can have a look. Sorry, I'll have a look on the other screen. So yeah. Thank you, Vicky. Right, so the other thing that I tend to do when I'm doing this, so I don't just look at it and stare at it and just talk about it. I also demonstrate. So I do things like this. So most people find the non-metals and the metals difficult, and everyone talks about the step down. Do you do that at school with you? And Shika, because you've done an easier way.
Yeah.
So you talk about the step down. When I found that everyone was having problems with the step down, so the easiest way to do the divide is you go from the corner of the P block. So this is the P block, so the corner of group 3 all the way down. And that's then the dividing line. And then you just do a little one underneath, because aluminium is actually a metal. And so is that one. No, it isn't. It's the one underneath it, which is the Liverpudlian one, I think, or something like that. I've got a periodic table in front of me. So I tend to so this is the easiest way to divide the two. So you don't have to worry about then the step down. You can work out the elements in between. Do you know what the elements in these red lines are called? Somebody's got their hand up. So do you want to answer? Whoever's got their hand up? Or did you want to ask a question? Or you put an answer in the question in the...
The metalloids.
The metalloids, yeah. Oh, I've lost the bar now. I'll just bring it up there, so I've got it. Right, so then I end up writing metalloids. And then, yep. You're going to say something?
What are metalloids?
Do you know what metalloids are, Anshika? Yeah.
Yeah, they're like they can convert between gas and like solids. So like they can be non-metals or they can be metals.
Yes.
Like depending on the state.
That's right. Famous one is silicon. We find silicon in all the stuff that's on my desk in front of me. It's my computer, it's my mobile phone. Well, that's all I've got actually. I've got 2 mobile phones. So basically anything that's sort of like electronic has silicon in. That's a semiconductor, so it can cope with huge amounts of energy in there. It can get very hot without melting, which is like the metals. And then it's very I can't remember what the actually, I've forgotten now. I'll have to look it up again. The non-metals, it acts a bit like the non-metals as well. So the non-metals are over here. And then we've got the metals over here. So we lost somebody, but I don't know who we've lost, actually. I heard them go. Right. So this is the sort of thing I do. So find out what you know about the periodic table, and then we go into other things. I don't. Wait a minute. Oh, Marianne. I lost.
Are group 0 noble gases?
Which are the noble gases?
Group 0.
Group 0, very good. Do you know the other names, like what group 1 is called?
I'm not really sure.
Group 2?
Nah, I only
No.
know 1.
All right, okay. What year are you in?
10.
Oh, that's fine, probably right. And then Where's she gone? Anshika, what year are you in?
Year 9.
Year 9. Oh, very good. So do you know what group 1 is called then? Because you had your hand up.
Yeah, group 1 is alkali metals,
Group 2?
alkali earth metals,
Very
alkaline
good.
earth metals,
7?
the halogens.
And then noble gases. Very good. That's well done, actually. Well done. Right. Oh yeah, and then I go on to just thinking what else I was going to go on. Right, so I'm going to take those off. Let me have the end note bar up. Take those off. And then we go into doing what an atom looks like. So that sort of thing. So you talked about the periods and the number of energy shells in them. So this is what I'm presently doing with the year 10-9 group at the moment. Just finding out what they know, and then put number of electrons on. I shouldn't have drawn it in red, should I? I always do that. How many electrons should I have in each shell? I'm just going to do this. Is this right? Okay, is it right? Yes or no? Anshika?
I can't see them properly, but in the first shell 2, in the second shell 8, in the third shell 8, and in the fourth shell 8.
Yeah, it's because I did a red. That's right. So it should be like, I'll just change the colour so you'll be able to see them. It's a cross.
Carol,
Yeah.
Green Anne's also answered in the chat as well. I was correct as well.
Oh, very good. Right. So then we got, can you see this better now? So we got 2 in the first, 8 in the second shell. So we always count from the inside out. And then 8 in that one. And then for GCSE purposes, you only need to know about the 2 in that shell. So that would be then calcium. And for A level, I'm just going to put the difference. I'm going to put the stars in. It's actually 18. But we don't tend to do it like this for A level. So I'm going to show you. I can't count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There you go. So there's 18. So that will be krypton. But you don't need to know that for GCSE. It's only the A levels. And the A levels don't do it like this either. I need to take that off again. And I'm going to do it more like this. I can get the animated bar. So they do this to start off with, so they overlap the GCSE and the A level, but then they do, I'll write it, it'll probably be easier. So the first shell, they get split into the blocks and everything. So you've got the periodic table like this. It's probably a bit badly drawn. And these are group 1 and 2. And so this is actually the S block. And they are spherical. I don't want my writing on there. And then you've got the P block, which is this block here. And they are, how do I describe it? Oh, I'll just show it. Actually, it's probably easier to show it. So they're like this sort of shape. And then you have the D block, which is all the transition metals. Yeah? Which one to ask?
I was just wondering, we were talking about this in school, but I was slightly confused.
Okay.
So wait, so there's the 8, so the infinite like one, and then yeah, the one that you're drawing, and then isn't there also the circular one?
Yeah, the spherical one is the S block.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're circle, but like that. Yeah, this is the D block. Yeah, you don't need to know that for GCSE, just you call it transitional metals. And so as a result of these blocks and everything, you end up splitting up the electrons slightly differently. So in the first shell, you've got 1, and then it's S, and there's 2 electrons. And then in the second shell, you have 2. So the second shell, S block, 2 electrons, because that's the maximum you can have in. And then the second shell, the P block, and the maximum number you can have in is 6. And then you go into the third shell, and it's S, and there's 2 electrons. And then you've got P in the P block, so that's 6 electrons. So that's then that'll be argon. And then you end up going for a bit more difficult. You go into the fourth shell, where you've got 2 electrons, and then into the D block. So the D block has a higher energy level than the S block. And so the D block comes there, and there are 10 electrons in there. And then you would do, 4. Then you go into 4P, 6. And then that one with all of that in would be krypton. And you'd end up going down like that. So that's one way. This way is called the spectroscopic notation. Okay. And it's really useful, but it's not as useful as the box orbital, sorry, I couldn't think of the word then, box orbital notation. This one just takes longer to draw because it's boxes. So that'd be 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 4d, and then you end up splitting them up. They're a bit small, so really sorry, just trying to keep them all on the same screen. And then we use arrows, half arrows like this, and the other one is upside down. So the one that is this way means that the electrons are spinning around in the orbits, and they spin in different directions, otherwise they'd shoot off because they repel each other because they're negative. And so we represent them by doing this. And so this is 1s, where 2 electrons, and then 3 electrons. And the way they get filled up is actually they're filled up like this first, and then you fill them up the other way. If I was to do, so then that would be, that's neon. I'm supposed to do, let's say, aluminium or something like that. So you've got 1s. Oh. Neon, aluminium. I'll make all of it aluminium actually. So I'm going to do a shortcut actually, probably just introduce it as well. I don't know if you've done this already.
Carol,
Yeah.
there's a couple of messages in the chat about how you're working them out. Just to let
Oh,
you
how
know.
do I get this? Oh, this is a bit above you, I'm afraid. This is for the A levels. Okay, you're year 9. So if you're gonna, do you want to do chemistry A level?
Probably, but just out of curiosity.
All
I
right,
guess
okay. Maybe if I get a whiteboard up then instead, I can show you. So let me just come out of this. Where's my bar? Where's that whiteboard go? What's the whiteboard? Hold on, I have to close my windows. I have to find. Oh, there it is. Accidentally closed it. Sorry. See. Right. Right. So the way that I've worked this out and everything, just to help you. Where's the bar gone? Oh, I've lost my anote bar. Oh, there it is. No, that's it, not it. Right, so when we've got, I'll do something simple then. So we've got lithium. And at GCSE level, you do this. That's all you do. And when you come to do it at A level, each of these have, so instead of a cross, the cross is no longer a cross, but becomes an arrow like this. And so we've got one cross there, and then you've got the other cross in this bit here, say, for example, where then it's spinning down. So you have one electron spins in a clockwise way. And then you have one electron that spins in an anti-clockwise. And this prevents the shooting off into space and keeps them in the orbit. Okay. Then, but we don't tend to then, it gets really complicated if you end up writing like you got like this. And if I ended up writing the orbits like that, which probably would have been much more sensible, really. But then it's like, it's a bit like an alien, isn't it? Type thing. So the way that, or writing it as 1s, and then 2s, it makes it harder. So this is more the representation of it. And so therefore, as a result of that, somebody came up with writing it as 1s. So you write 1s, so that's both, that's 2 electrons. That's 1 electron. And then that's the other electron. But being lazy human beings, and scientists are very lazy, they abbreviate absolutely everything. It's abbreviated to 1s because we've got 2 of them. We've got 2 atop. So that's where that comes from. And then the 2 means that it's now the second shell. And we actually write that then as 2s1. We haven't got quite lazy and not do it, not write anything. If you didn't write a 1 there, it wouldn't matter, but everyone does write a 1 there. And that's in the second shell. So that's where it's all come from. Where I was going to do it for a bit more complicated for the others with the, oh, wait a minute. So, and the other way, so that's the spectroscopic way. So spectroscopic notation. So I've already done it now. Being a lazy scientist and everything's abbreviated. The other way is the box orbital. So if I write box way, then it'd be easier. So you end up to make it nice and neat, I'll just do the boxes. So you've got one electron that is spinning up, and you've got one electron that's spinning down, and that's in the first shell. And then in the second shell, you've only got one electron. So that's how it all comes about. The box orbital is really useful when you come to do year 13 work. That's where you'll use it the most. You don't really use this unless you're writing out something. Not, I think, no, I can't think. The only time they get you to write this out is when you're doing exams. The box orbital is much more useful in explaining other things that are much more advanced, like electrons jumping and stuff like that, which there's no year 13s in, so I won't do it. If you're going to join me, then you'll end up learning about that anyway.
When you say electrons jumping, is that like radioactivity? So when
They jump between shells. So
yeah, with
yeah,
the photon.
yeah. So they jump between the shells and everything. It's because of the energy that's given to them. So energy shells, another way of representing them is that you can do them so like this, and they also get closer and closer to each other. Oh, wait a minute. So I think it's only WJC that actually does this in year 12. All the other boards don't. And so you've got, this is the first energy shell, and this is the 7th up here. And if you put some sort of energy into them, the electrons will jump up to the next shell. And sometimes they jump all the way up to the top. And then when they come down, I could have done that much neater. When they come down, they emit a light. And somebody else has vanished again. So they emit a light out. And that's what we see when we see lights and everything. And well, sometimes. So the light that gets emitted out can be ultraviolet light. So that's UV, is ultraviolet. So that's sunlight, like things in the wavelength of ultraviolet. You get infrared light as well, and then you also get the visible light. So that's the one that we see. So like I'm looking out my window at the moment, and I can see yellow flowers, and then most of the stuff I see is green. Some of the leaves are turning a different color. So that means that the light that's been emitted is green light, and everything else has been absorbed. The yellow flowers are emitting yellow light, and everything else is absorbed. And so that's how it's done. And the electrons, it's the movement of electrons that's happening in the atmosphere. There's lots of reactions going on in the atmosphere that you will actually learn about. I mean, if you do chemistry, biology A levels, chemistry and physics A levels, that you learn that sort of thing. Well, I can't actually remember a physics A level. I think it was different when I did it. Sorry?
I think you learned this stuff about energy and jumping things in physics in GCSE, because I know about this.
All right, okay. Yeah, I can't remember what you do in physics. So yeah, so this is learned at A level as well. The differences between the boards is that the GCSE, some things it depends if you're doing triple science or you're doing single science, or if you're Wales doing double or triple. Things, so like I've noticed like the AQAs don't, if they're just doing combined, they don't learn about the flame tests, the cation and anion tests. They don't learn about those, but in Wales they do. And then when we come to do it at A level, the Welsh already know it, but the English boards don't. So there's some but most people in England, from what I can gather, do single sciences. Whereas in Wales, most of them do the double sciences. Very few people do the single sciences, which is called triple. Single sciences means something different in Wales. So it's just terminologies and stuff like that. But some of the stuff like in Wales, we do crude oil and stuff like that, and the blast furnace, probably because there's one locally. whereas in England they don't do the blast furnace at all, but they do crude oil at A level, and so you end up doing it at A level, not at GCSE. So that's the only difference in everything. GCSE, Wales and England are split up, but the A levels are not, because you need to know it all anyway for all your A levels. And England does exams after 2 years at GCSE and at A level, whereas Wales do the exams in years 10, 11, 12 and 13. So it's not then repeated. And so for GCSE, they've swapped 6 units around. So it's just made it a bit too difficult to teach them. So I've got GCSE groups running in WJC. They're on a Saturday morning. And then I've got the English boards are running on a Friday evening. And at the moment, they're learning the same stuff, but next term they probably won't be, because the year 10s and 9s in, well, the year 10s in the Welsh board have to be ready in June for their exams in year 10, and then in year 11 in May.
Hello?
Yep.
You just got a question in the chat, just so you're aware.
Right, okay, thank you. So how hard is the A-level course, especially the core organic module? So you're asking the wrong person. I think the organic is easy, really easy. I also teach it in a way that you will learn it better than the way that school teaches you, because they teach you all of it forward, whereas I yo-yo back and forth. Because I discovered when I first started tutoring, and I mean, I didn't notice it so much when I was teaching in school, but when I started tutoring the children after school, from other schools as well, I noticed that everything's taught forward, and then it's like, put it all together. And when you put it all together, it's really difficult to put it all together. What A-level options would you recommend to do pharmacy? Well, you definitely need chemistry, because pharmacy is full of chemistry, and probably biology, so you understand where the drugs work. But other than that, I don't know. The best way to find out is to Google universities to find out what they are looking for. That's the best way to do it. So if you want to do pharmacy, go to your local, you know, I'm in Cardiff, so I just look at Cardiff University, what are they wanting for it, and then chemistry and biology, and then do something else. When I was at school, I did all sciences because that's what was expected of you. It's much broader, so you can do biology and physics, chemistry, and then you could do something that's not scientific. You could do something maybe law, or you know, something that really interests you. You don't then have to stick with it. I don't know what I would have done for my third subject. I did actually I did 4 A levels, so and we also did general studies as well, where it was actually quite good fun, but I dropped it because it didn't benefit me in any way to get into university. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, Rust and anyone else, you go to the universities and see what they're offering. It doesn't matter which one you go to have a look, they'll be all roughly the same. They do work on point systems as well, but don't worry about that. It's just the subjects. I mean, you want to go for the top grades anyway, to get into universities. I mean, there are universities that don't always want the top grades. So this year, I heard that somebody was getting into Southampton or Portsmouth? I can't remember. Probably Portsmouth, and they needed a C to get in, so they got in with a C. You're welcome. So that's just a bit about A-level. And then one of the things I was going to say as well, for the A-levels, you can take shortcuts. This is another thing that scientists really like and everything. So if I put argon, so it's disappeared off the slides once it goes. It only stays on the whiteboard. So the argon, you can shortcut it. So we already know that that's 1s. We already know that's 1s, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. So we already know that because that's what argon is. And then you can just put that in there. So if you're doing calcium, for example, afterwards, you just put 1s2. And it's tended to get used in the spectroscopic notation rather than the box. Although you could use it in the box, I suppose, but I don't really see it in the box. In the box one, you would just do it as like this. So that would then be calcium. So I think somebody new has come in. I've lost him. I can't see it on the screen I've got at the moment. I need 4 screens, don't I? Nanjama, is that how I say it? Welcome. So we're just running through. So we're just demonstrating a lesson at the moment. I can't hear you though if you're trying to talk. But you can write in the chat box if you want to. So the screens are over there now. Right. So that's just a bit of how I teach, and so we went off topic because somebody asked a question, and so they tried to address it. This is more like our question and answer sessions on the Fridays, but I'm only doing that for the A levels at the moment. I've got enough time in the day to do GCSEs as well. Okay, so and then this will then be saved as well. The PDF, the whiteboard gets saved as a PDF. It's got set up to save. Everything is recorded, so you can have access to the recordings afterwards, and you can show how clever you are at school. The whiteboards are also interactive, so that anyone can write on them. Then that names don't record, it's only what's written on it is recorded. And then all of that gets uploaded to a learning portal, which then I think somebody else put something in the chat. All right, just that now. Just close it down, be easier. And then you can have access to the learning portal. There's loads of material. The whole of the A level is in there now. Last year, only half of it was in because they took the special measures out from the previous year. And once they'd announced them, I just stopped teaching that section. So I was halfway through the P block, I think, and I just stopped teaching it. And then that was A level anyway, year 13, and whatever the others were for the others, I just stopped teaching, and I just then picked up the subjects. And when we concentrated on the ones that they said were coming up or potentially coming up, and then this year, apart from WJC, that's the Welsh board, all the other boards, then you had to do all of it, but WJC is all in there anyway because I did that during lockdown, because I live in Wales. Most of my people were WJC, and I had OCR and AQA from locals children from local private schools, and they've now switched to WJC, but now I do England as well. So I've got experience with AQA, EdXL, CIE, Cambridge International, OCR A and B, WJC, I think that's probably it. The international EdXL as well for GCSE. My children did it anyway, and then the homeschool community do it as well, because you don't have to do any practicals, practical exams, and you don't have to prove that you do practicals, whereas all the other boards you do. Okay, right, so let's go back. Wait a minute, so switch screens. I don't know where I was up to. Right, so I was doing the A levels, wasn't I? I've got a bar on there now. Don't know how I managed to do that. There we go, we are. Right. Somebody's disappeared again. Right, oh, wait a minute, didn't go onto the screen. 1 and 2, I've lost the bar. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Oh, there it is. So on screen 2. And it's screen 1. Okay, right. So these are some of the exam tips as well that people probably will tell you as well. So start early while it's still fresh in your mind. When you come home from school, have a look at it, and start early, like now, especially A-level. There's so much to learn for A-level, and the closer you get to exams, the more freaked out people become. Know your dominant learning style and then study in that way. So that's what I do. I teach you to study in the way that's suitable for you. And if you want help with this, then you can come on board with me. We do lots and lots of practice questions as well. When you're reading the questions, read the question, really. So not misinterpret it, don't actually answer. What a lot of people do is they read the question, they answer the question they think the answer should be, as opposed to what actually the answer they want it to be, you know, the examiners. We did this in the quiz today, this morning, that they wanted us to list numbers and they kept saying left to right and it was up and down. And I think all of us at one point got it all upside down, not necessarily on the same question, but we all got the order upside down because they weren't really clear in the way that they said it. And exam papers are like that as well. Some boards are worse than others in doing that. And it's only when you look at the mark scheme, you go, why didn't they ask that? So, so it's learning to read the question in the way that they want it being answered. There are easy marks that you can get as well. So it's like learning the definitions, especially at A-level. If you learn the definitions, so it depends on the way that you learn. So if you're a visual learner, then I would recommend that you write them out and you stick them on your bedroom walls, and then you stare at them when you're doing mundane things like undressing and dressing, getting ready for school. You know, you can put your clothes on without looking. You know, that sort of thing. Or if you just I stare out the window a lot. And visual learners also very good at visualizing in their heads. This is what the Russians did, you know, before they lost all their territories, you know, before the wall fell down in the 1980s or something. And when they compete, before they even touched any bars or anything, so that they wouldn't get injured, they would visualize their movements. And so their brain thought that their muscles could do all the movements, and so could do all the movements, even though they'd never done any, because they'd learned to visualize them. And so that's what I tend to do with the visual learners, so that they learn to visualize what they put on their wall and think about it. So, you know, like when you worry about something over and over again. It's like that, thinking about it so that you retain it in your head. And then when you get home, so what I used to do was when I had exams, I used to put it all on my bedroom wall, look at the section I wanted to look at, not all of it, just a little bit of it. And I found that I preferred having yellow paper, and then I stuck it on my bedroom wall, didn't put very much on the paper. I would then cycle to university, because that's when I did it. So I'd cycle to university, or if I was in my job, I would cycle to the job, and then I would think it over, and then when I got home, I'd write it out, and I'd see where I missed out and what I couldn't do. When I came to the exam, I did use the same process in the exams, because I'm a visual tactile learner. If you're an auditory learner, there's lots of different ways actually now. I usually suggest things like dictaphones, speaking into your mobile phone and listening to it like music. Some people have now found apps, so I've suggested those as well. And then if you're a tactile learner, then you need to move around when you're learning. So that's why I cycle. I can't sit at my desk and learn it. It never ever went in. I found that when I walked around parks or cycled around parks, that's when it went in for me. If I didn't have to concentrate. So I used to do it in parks as opposed to on the roads, because you have to concentrate when you're on the roads, don't you, when you're cycling. Think positively when you come to do the exams as well, that it's like I've got a little thing, a sticker on my desk, on my laptop saying I can do this. It reminds me that I can do this, I can teach this, I can do whatever I need to do, I can do this. Even if I feel like I can't do it, it's just a positive mindset, and it just produces the endorphins. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Really good, that is. So there you go. Somebody can write on my information, and then can be keeping the momentum going. Don't peak in too early. If you find yourself peaking too early, that means you haven't taken enough rest. So you need to take enough rest as well when you're revising, so you can pace yourself. Like building in favorite hobbies. I used to kayak before lockdown. The club has collapsed. The guy got cancer. I think he's still around, but he hasn't really re-established it since lockdown. So I haven't kayaked for 4 years now. So anyone want a boat? They can have a boat. So that's just some exam tips, and we do talk about them a lot. Last year, everyone was panicking about 6 weeks before the exams, and I started talking about how they can do it in their dominant learning style. And we started actually concentrating on how they would then pass the exams and stuff like that, as well as doing the exam questions, calming them down, making them feel more confident. When you're learning in your dominant learning style, you are much more confident as well, especially when you start getting good at using it as well. So if I learnt in auditory, which I have done some courses in auditory, I take ages to do it. So I don't watch YouTube videos, for examples, because it doesn't stick. I was watching something before I did this. I can't remember what I was watching. I watched a brilliant film last night. I don't remember what it's called. Useless, basically. It was a really nice film. So I remember it was about an aeroplane and stuff like that. Anyway, so, you know, I've got pictures now of it running through my head, but I can't remember what it's called. So I'm not very good at that. Right, let's have a look. Right, so this is what some of the other students have been saying, that they don't feel alone, that they've created really good habits. One person last year told me that she'd been learning basically as an auditory learner, kind of, and she didn't realise, and she started using lots of colour. So I was using colour there rather than black and white. The auditories don't really care if it's black or white or coloured. It doesn't really bother them. It's the visual learners that you need lots of colour in there, because that's what their eyes pick up better, and their brains. So this is the sort of things that they were saying, that they're much more confident. We covered the material at a slow pace. We don't go really fast. I know school goes really fast. There's lots of testing as well, like I showed you, like I was asking you questions, finding out what you knew before I actually then launch into something new. And then we revisit as well. So on Friday, they didn't have any problems with what they've done in the week. So I said, what have you done previously? They told me, and I said, can you teach it to me? And they had a go. That's all I asked them to do. They now know where their gaps of knowledge are, because one of them said to me, yes, I know how to do it. And then as soon as she tried to start teaching it to me, it completely went out of her head. And she just she laughed about it. So it's a relaxed atmosphere as well. So do you want to feel like this too, that you want to feel that you can get higher grades? If you want to get higher grades, do you want to give me a thumbs up? I think everyone's disappeared. Oh, there we are. You're too low. Everyone likes high grades, don't they? I wish I'd known about this when I was at school. I would have done a lot better than when I was not at school. I mean, it's university, my second year of university. Well, I think it might have been the first, actually. The first time round. Oh, excellent. Thumbs up. Thank you. Right, so this is...
how has your dominant learning style knowledge helped you?
It's helped me manage my time more effectively, because now I know how to revise in a way that suits me, so I'm not wasting a lot of time, and I'm actually learning the stuff. So
that's good, thank you.
So that's the girl I actually mentioned earlier, where she came in with a D and she went out with an A. She's now going to university next month. In London, Queen Mary. She sent me a text that she was so pleased, and she thanked me for all my support. So So this is how we can support you. So like I mentioned, we've got a learning portal. There's lots of now courses in there. This is just a picture of one of them. I don't know which one. I think, oh, this is the A-level one. So this is actually a pre-recorded one. This is how you get in. So this is sent out as an email when you join, and also the page after you pay as well. We have a community. These are the community groups. So I've squashed them together actually now. So year 12 and 13 are together, and year 10 and 11 and 9 are together actually. And then physics and biology are separate as well. As you can see, this is the A-level one, year 12. Somebody put some questions in. I didn't put these in. Somebody else put them in, and we worked our way through them. This is the timetable we have at the moment. And these are the people that teach them. So you can see my name is all over the chemistry ones, the year 12 and 13. And then we've also got key stage, well, it was a key stage 3, but it's actually now the WJC group instead. So they do the same thing at the moment. They're both year 10, year 9. Anyone who's starting GCSE, so the English boards are on the Friday and the Welsh board is on the Saturday morning. And it doesn't matter if you come in on the Saturday morning at the moment, but it will later because they'll diverge. So for example, Wales does water in year 10, and what else do they do in year 10? Whereas AQA does it in year 11, and it's also slightly different in the way that Wales does soapy water and hard water and soft water, and England doesn't do that at all. Then there's like the energy, not the profiles, electrolysis is done in year 10 for the English boards and in year 11 for the Welsh boards. And then there's some other things like titrations. Some of the AQA units are sort of like titration is in a different unit in Wales, but it's also taught in the second year, whereas in England it's taught in the first year. It tends to be anyway. That sort of thing. It doesn't matter really so much for the English boards because you do the exams at the end of the year, but for the Welsh one it matters because they do it at the end of year 10, so that means they have to know everything that's in year 10 only and not year 11 only. They can't mix it up, which makes it a bit of a pain, but it's also in some ways easier. That's what England used to do. So they introduced the separating out the year groups. So the generation, well, not really the generation after me, the people who were like 3 or 4 years younger than me benefited from it. But in my generation, the people, you know, the people who were doing it, basically the government or whatever, they realized that actually after 2 years of studying A levels, nobody was, or very few people were coming out with any qualifications. And so they introduced an AS level, and you could do an AS level that contributed towards the A2 level, the year 13 level. So like it's called full A level now. You could do an AS level, but it didn't contribute, so nobody did it because that meant a load of exams. So if I'd done it in maths, I would have an AS in maths, but I didn't. I dropped it. So I did so I did the first year, year 12 of maths. Not that I can remember it anymore. Okay, and then these are the different lessons. So we don't have any GCSE on Monday and Tuesdays. That might change. We might start doing it, but at the moment we don't. And then the A levels are all, sorry, I can't get them off the bottom actually. So they're all at 7 o'clock, apart from one at 6 because we couldn't fit it in. There aren't enough days in the week. So the year 13, oh, there you go. Year 13 is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the year 12s on Monday, Tuesday, and they join the Friday as well at the same time at 7 o'clock. So are you ready to take action? So what we have, actually it's Monday that. Oh yeah, this is, So once you've entered the portal, you can do the quiz. So, and then also what we're also doing is that we, on a Wednesday at 8:15, which you get sent out the Zoom codes for, because we're doing it slightly different through this system, is that you'll have to come in to get your Zoom codes, because the Zoom codes won't be sent out to you because we don't know what you want on everything, basically. So this is what it is at the moment. So normally it's £450 per month for 3 lessons a week. So that's 3 GCSEs, one of biology, one of chemistry, one of physics. And then, so that's the GCSE, and then the A level, you get the 3 of either year 12 or year 13. So it's normally £450 a month. So we're doing an autumn special at the moment. And so it's either you either pay £200 per month, or you can pay for 3 months at a time, which is then you get it for the price of 1 month effectively. Okay. This is the, I put it too low, didn't I? I have to remember that, shift it up a bit. So those are the codes and everything. We'll send it out in, I'll put them in the chat as well, actually, because I think you've all come from different sources as well. It will go out in an email, so if you've been getting the emails, but not everyone's, I don't know if everyone's got those. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, I've come off it now. Oh, there we are. Okay. I think I've accidentally hit something. Oh, there you go. I'm going to do that. So has anyone got any questions at all? Did you enjoy it, the lesson?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So have you got any questions you want to ask? I've got some more students here.
My grades were like G's and C's. They were quite like bad.
Okay, and how are they now?
In the test, I'm getting A's and B's, especially in organic chemistry, which was what I was struggling with.
That's really good. So we're coming up to the exams. How do you feel about the exams?
I'm not 100% sure I'm ready, but I do feel more confident, especially with organic chemistry.
What's made you feel more confident?
I think I now know more of the content. I understand it better.
What helps you understand it better?
I think the major thing that contributed was knowing my learning style, because I didn't know what my learning style was until I started lessons with you.
And so could you elaborate on that, please?
I was trying to use like other more conventional learning styles, like taking notes the way other people would take notes, because that's what they taught me in school. But I realized that I'm a visual learner, so shorter sentences, diagrams help me learn more than like the long-winded notes I used to take immensely. Because usually I would just go and take like a whole book with me to try and study everything, to keep everything in my head. But now I use little flashcards, and they work so much better because I can take them, look at the little keywords, phrases I need to use, or look at the mechanism, and it makes it so much easier to remember.
Well, that's really good. And you told me last time that you started using lots of colours as well in the way you were learning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's really good, that is. So is there anything that you would advise to people for A levels, studying A levels? Is there anything that you would recommend?
I would recommend learning, knowing what your reading style is very important, especially for A level, because A level is a lot of content in just 2 years, and if you don't know what study method works for you, then it's going to be terrible. But if you do, I feel like that's going to significantly like increase your chances of getting like higher grades. And I feel like if you're struggling with something, never be too scared to ask for help, whether that be like in the form of a tutor.
You really like my lessons?
Yes, I really do.
What do you like about them?
I like that they're very inclusive. So because in the lessons you always try and include everyone's like reading like learning style. So there are lots of colors, lots of diagrams, and there are also like notes, so you can like choose what works for you and like kind of move with it. That's what I do, and I really like that.
So it's not just strategies or tips or anything, it's more the learning styles. Is that what you were saying?
For me, I think for me, majority of my problem of the learning style.
The learning style is very important to learn with then.
Yeah.
Knowing about it and how to do it is very important.
I think that your learning style is one of the most important things. I feel like if I like knew what my learning style was at the beginning, like I'm not saying I could have gotten an A from the beginning, but I think I might have been better than I was, because my grades were really bad from the beginning. So
that's really good, that is. So you're going to use it now for the rest of your life. You've learned a really important skill that you can actually take it right across everything.
Yes.
Yes. And do you use it in the other A-level subjects as well?
Yes, I use it in all my subjects.
Excellent. So that's what we wanted, wasn't it?
Yes.
So as well as getting the chemistry up and everything, you've also learned an important skill that you can use with, because you want to go and study medicine, is that right?
No, clinical psychology.
All right, okay, sorry. Clinical, do you have to do a medical degree for that?
No, you don't.
Oh, that's handy. But you still need an A, don't you? Unfortunately, you still need the A and everything. You can do that because it's a really tough course to get into, from what I can remember.
Yeah.
But you can use it at university as well now. You've got a skill that even though you know how to study for chemistry A-level, you've learned how to study in any subject for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
So you've been in my program now for 6 weeks. So how are you finding it so far?
I think it's really helpful because you do it twice a week, so I don't really forget stuff because I kind of forget easily, and because we do it twice a week, I can kind of stays in my head because I do chemistry twice a week now. But, yeah.
So what made you look at for tutoring in the first place?
I was getting really low in my chemistry grades for AS, and I wasn't really doing good for the first year. It was I was getting C's and D's mostly. So I thought if I'd got a tutor, then I would improve my grades. Yeah, my exams.
Thank you. Right. Do you like the way I teach?
Yeah, I really do. It's just you go really slowly, and I can understand it.
So you've been in my program now for 6 weeks. So how are you finding it so far? What made you reach out for help with chemistry tuition?
So you're finding these useful? Can you hear them all right? I didn't check actually.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're all pretty good. Thank
Sorry, can you hear them?
Yeah, we can hear them.
Yeah, that's all right. So there's over a range of them. So those two were last year. He was I think the first year of lockdown actually. No, not meant to be. I think so actually.
So what made me reach out was first in my school, our teacher that was mainly covering our Unit 3 topics had been ill for 3-4 weeks and hadn't come to the lessons, and we didn't have a cover teacher or anything, so I was getting worried about my Unit 3. And one of my friends who's a bit older recommended you as a very good tutor, so that's why I came.
What's your experience been with me?
It's been very good, very positive, and very helpful. Cause you always cover the topic really in detail, and you don't go too fast because a lot of my teachers in school they kind of speed through everything and it's hard to keep up. So you always go through it really slowly and make sure everyone understands. And the colors that you use when you're doing the presentation is really helpful as well.
What has helped you the most?
I'd say, as well as your time, you also have the portal. So for example, because I joined a bit later than everyone else, some of the topics that I had missed, I could, you provided a portal with the live lessons from before. And so I could just go and watch that whenever in my own free time. And that's been one of the most helpful things.
Thank you. What would you say to anyone else who's looking for a chemistry tutor?
I would recommend you by name. I would say 100% go for Carol. She's really good, really helpful. Yeah.
Thank you. And the other thing is that I teach, and I did a learning assessment, learning style thing assessment with you when you first came in. How have you found that?
I found that actually really helpful because I never knew I was a visual learner. So now when I'm doing like other topics and other revision, I use all the colors, and I bought this colored pen so that I could write everything in different colors and it sticks in my brain a lot better. So that was really helpful as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to finish now. I didn't realise we've gone on so long. I think it's all the teaching I did as well. So thank you. Quite a few people have gone already. So I've put the link in the chat box for payments if you want to come and join. If you have any questions, then just ask me. I'm going to put it the video when it's done. I'll put it into the chat as well, and I'll put it onto the website that I've sent you the link to as well, so that you can rewatch it if you want. And then hopefully you'll come on board and we can welcome you in next week. All right, okay, thank you. Anyone got any questions?
No, thank you.
All right, okay. Well, thank you ever so much for coming. The others disappeared before I could say thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Wait to get out of this now. Wait a minute. I don't know.